Mental health means being able to process and talk about our emotions, our routines, our setbacks, and our differences. How can we cope with our mental health on bad days and nourish our mental health on our good days in order to feel our best? Um, we have to be able to have a strong self understanding of how we process our thoughts, and that journey is going to be different for everyone. So, whether that be therapy, group counseling, or tweaks in our everyday self care routine. So, for me, like since the pandemic is when I've started to think about my mental health a lot more than I did prior to that. So now I try to focus on my mental health, like actively do something for my mental health twice a week. So whether that be going to group counseling sessions that they run on campus, those have been very helpful for me. Um, Taking time to take a break from my extracurriculars, my job and school, and really like focus on doing something fun with my friends. That's important to me for my mental health, being social. And as well as like maybe one day I'll take the time to look up a new recipe, get all the ingredients, and cook myself a nice dinner and watch like a comfort show. That also is relaxing to me and helps me kind of de stress and focus on my mental health. So on my campus, um, they have different groups for like different topics. So like they have a grief and loss support group, they have a women's empowerment group counseling, they have um, LGBTQ, there's one today that is expressive arts therapy group counseling. So it's like this one is called But I Suck at Drawing. So it's like everyone who maybe isn't good at art, if they feel like they want to express themselves creatively. So they have different topics like that. So basically, I would recommend like going on to the Instagram that our counseling center has, or like looking up online. They have like a calendar with all of the different topics, or like just like niche groups that you can get involved in. And then when you go there, there's just going to be, there's usually a counselor from the counseling center there who runs it. And then a bunch of people that are probably in the same position as you. So you shouldn't be worried about it. Every time I go, there's new people. And it's definitely a safe place. The counselor tries to make it a very safe place to feel like you can sit there and listen, or you can go ahead and like express your feelings or your thoughts or your problems that you're working through. So that's definitely what I would recommend. Also, like there are groups that are run by students. So I'm a peer mediator on campus, and we do once a week we do tea talks on our campus. So that means like you can come up to, we have like a designated area or and like a fun activity to do, and you can come talk to us if you don't feel comfortable making an appointment with a therapist, and we can kind of guide you and give you advice that way as well. I feel like it's a way that students can, we can relate to the students. So we're going through the same experiences as they are. And so for a lot of kids, it's easier for them to kind of come to our group like activities that we run once a week. And then when they feel like they're comfortable with us, we can kind of guide them to someone who's better trained to deal with whatever they are going through. So a lot of the times we do recommend they go to like the counseling center, or they go to a drop-in group counseling or something like that. But we're kind of an outreach program, so our job really is to kind of share what the counseling center does on our campus, and that's why I feel like it's good that they have that group on our campus. So I personally first started struggling with my mental health when I was a freshman in college. I didn't really know how to process the change. I felt very isolated, and I felt that like I had a vision in my mind of how college was supposed to go and how I wanted it to go. And because that wasn't being met, I felt ashamed that I wasn't experiencing the same thing my peers were experiencing. So as a result, I kind of shut down. I became depressed. I kind of isolated myself. I made some poor lifestyle choices. Um, and that ultimately led me to transfer schools. So after I transferred schools, I was getting involved on campus and I started to really like it. I was introduced to the counseling center at Oswego, and then the pandemic shut everything down. So then I had ways to deal with through what I've learned at Oswego and like the counseling center and their services and stuff. They were also really good with like remote counseling, but I had ways to kind of deal with feeling isolated because I was able to replace socialization with hobbies and um, kind of altering everything to being remote. So that is something that is a little victory for me because before that, if I hadn't gone to counseling or therapy or like found ways that I can be better at self-care, it probably would not have been good for me. So that was really helpful for me. And honestly, just being able to feel safe and trusting with my peers, my campus community, and my counselor made all the difference for me to be able to focus on my mental health through those hard times. A lot of the times on campus, they're almost every single day they will run like some sort of mindfulness event. So whether it's like we're gonna make bracelets or we're gonna have therapy dogs, we're gonna do rock painting. They've done um yoga by the lake, setting up hammocks, doing campfires. Like they always have some sort of activity to de-stress and have fun and kind of just like relax. So that is another thing besides the stuff I've talked about previously that a lot of students love and attend, and it's a really important part of our campus. So I think that's probably a good one. And I also will attest to like intramural sports or like the fitness centers having group workout sessions and personal training. A lot of the times that is a way for people to cope and kind of process or like release any negative energy. I know a lot of my friends and myself as well. That's another way that is, I think, a really good way to take care of yourself. So unfortunately, a lot of people do still see um, mental health as bad or something is wrong with me, something's wrong with my life. Why am I feeling like this? This is a bad thing. Um, and I think my campus does a really good job at like the outreach of counseling services because I've been on other college campuses where I literally had no idea what if there was a counseling center, what was going on, like who I could call or if I needed help or anything. So I think that is the first step is kind of making sure all the students are aware that there is someone they can talk to, groups they can go to, crisis lines they can call, things like that. So that's the first step is the outreach. Next, it's talking about it. So I think it needs to be brought up in class more because for the kids that aren't involved on campus, going to class is the best way that we can reach them. So I think professors need to kind of talk about mental health, give out resources on campus, take a day in the beginning, kind of like when they go over the syllabus, do that. And then also they have to understand that students are going to need mental health days. It's going to be different day for each student. And I personally think like it should not be counted towards as like absence, like a skip day. So like I think that is also really important. And then the other thing I have an opinion on is the reason that students are, so it's not just students, everyone can be a little bit afraid to reach out in crisis is because they feel like they might get in trouble. like a mental health arrest, or like if they're feeling suicidal, if they have to go to the hospital and then deal with the repercussions of that, is very scary for them and very isolating, and makes them feel like reaching out for help just made everything worse. So I feel like we need to kind of change that and just give them other resources, or like for me, I'm like my friends, like who they're around need to know who they can call, and like that they're going to be safe and okay. So that's the other thing I think about. But I think our generation does a really good job of talking about it and giving opinions and stuff. So it's definitely, we're on the right path to ending the stigma. My first piece of advice is start off by telling a friend or someone in your life that you trust, because a lot of the times they're going to be able to lay out all of your options and kind of like the next step. But getting it off your chest and telling someone that you trust is definitely going to be the first step. And then they're going to direct you towards someone who's trained to help you and work through your struggle or whatever it is that you're going through or feel like you need to talk to. Um, and just my advice is don't be afraid. I've seen therapy change people's lives, and it's just that first step of kind of booking that appointment or reaching out to someone or making that phone call that's going to really change or help you in any way that you wouldn't even expect it.